All right, let's talk logistics. Okay, more specifically, those things dealing with money and credit cards and drops and stuff of that nature. So let's talk about money right now. Okay, how much does it take to do a through hike? Now, I don't know. The book will tell you $1 a mile. So let's say the trail is 2,180 miles this year. Okay, then you're looking at $2,180. So depending on your lifestyle, depending on however you live, is that enough? Can you make it work? I don't know. Can I make that work? Yeah, I can make that work. But check this out though. That's not counting hotels. That's not counting shuttle fees, and that's not counting restaurants and so forth. But it really all depends, because see, what I'm trying to get to, what I want to convey is, it really doesn't cost that much. I mean, you can make it live. You can make that work if you're frugal. You don't necessarily have to be cheap. Well, what does this mean? I'm gonna give you a little bit of perspective. When I was taking a finance course at college, at some point we were going over some work in the class, and something in the book, and the teacher said it takes $100,000 to raise a baby from birth to age 10. And then she went on to say, and from age 10 to 18, it'll take another $300,000 to raise that baby. And at this point, I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Where are you getting this stuff from? What about WIC? What about food stamps? What about welfare, right? Now, the people turned around in class and started looking at me like I was crazy, right? But then the black people, there's a couple sisters in the class, and I hope I'm not stereotyping, but they're like, yeah, he got a point. You damn right I got a point. I mean, it don't take $100,000 to do this and do that. And, I was just speaking from the heart. Maybe I spoke too soon or whatever, but, let's just keep it real, people. That's just not, I don't know where they're getting their statistics from, but it's like, hey, I'm from this side of the railroad tracks, you from over there. So I'm going to tell you something, if you come from that place where, that's how much it costs to raise you guys, and $2,000 won't even be a drop in the bucket for you. You might want to consider, bringing more money. But now, this is what I want to tell you though. Can you do it on $2,000? Yes, I already told you. Well, it's not really count. The average hotel is like $45. Sometimes you can get people to split hotels with you. Restaurants, that depends on you. Shuttles, sometimes hitchhikes can be long, or sometimes, you may need some new gear or something, and the nearest REI is 25 miles out, so shuttles can run you anywhere from $8 to $20. Now, I will say this, it's always good to go with the local hiker hostels and the local bed and breakfasts than the hotels. And the reason why I say this is because when you deal with these people are we are their bread and butter. You know what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to say is that they'll go all out for you. So let's say you're at a hiker's hostel and you need some gear or something. Man, they will bend over backwards, take everything out the trunk, load your stuff in there, and literally hold your hand and take you to an outfitter. Stay there. And they won't even charge you for it. So little things like that, they feel your pain. They're one of you. Whereas you get, I would say a name, but I'm not. Whereas you get some hotel chain, you know what I'm saying? They could care less about you. You're gonna come in, pay your rent, and if you don't check out on time, they'll add more, kick you out, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you want to think about that too. You want to always think in terms of support and things of that nature. So and to be honest with you, hiker hostels and not necessarily a bed and breakfast, that's gonna run you a bit, but hiker hostels are a fraction of the price of what you would normally pay as far as hotels go. Now, depending on how much money you want to bring, I suggest you take 3/4 of that. Okay, let's say you bring $2,000. You want to have 1/4 of that money in cash. So we'll just say $500 in cash and $1,500 on the credit card. Okay. Now you want to do this for any number of reasons, but what this suggests and what I haven't said is that you use a debit card. Debit cards are so much better than credit cards, and I'm gonna tell you why. Credit cards today are set up on these computer automated systems. If you can call customer service the day before you leave and say, hey, My name is so-and-so. This is my account. I need you to annotate on my account that I'm doing a through hike, that I'm going on the Appalachian Trail. Nobody knows what these words mean, but they're going to annotate that on your account. You can be like, and that means I'm going to be using my card. Now, okay, ma'am, you're taken care of. Okay, sir. You'll start in Georgia. By the time you get to Tennessee, your card's going to be canceled. You're going to be sitting there and taking care of something, and it's like, void transaction or whatever. And so then, you're going to be on the phone talking to the credit card company and be like, what happened? Why has my credit card been denied? Well, ma'am, the automated system, a computer, flagged you and said, you met the profile of suspect or whatever, and that's and the other, so we canceled your card. So you'd be like, okay, this is me, turn it back on. Oh, well, we have to transfer you to the fraud department, and then to transfer you to the fraud department, your call is very important to us. Please leave a man. Now, this is your hike. You're trying to get through there and do things, and now you got to go through all this, okay? And when you finally reach the fraud department about your credit card, when you did everything you were supposed to do, they want a hair sample, they want blood, they want urine. I mean, they want to know every transaction you ever made from the time you left the house from 10 years ago. I mean, it's just so frustrating. Debit cards, it's totally different. You go into your local bank and say, hey, how you doing? I'm going to be going out of town. I'm going to be using my debit card. I'm going to be blah, 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 blah. They're like, cool, have a good time. Debit cards are monitored more from a human perspective as opposed to these big old conglomerates, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover protecting their interests. These are billion-dollar companies. They don't want to pay nothing if there's a mistake. Whereas a debit card, they could care less. Man, that's your money. If you got a problem, if you don't report it, they're like, oh, we didn't lose nothing. That's your cash. But what I'm saying is that, yeah, you really want to roll with a debit as opposed to a Visa card. And when you need money, you don't have to worry about ATM fees. You go into these places, let's say Walmart, you make your purchase, and what you do is you ask for cash back, whenever you need it. So really, to be honest with you, if you're rolling from a debit card, you can probably go with a fifth of the cash, But in some towns, you got to understand, Appalachia is it's one of the best kept secrets, but at the same time, it's old school, Some people don't have credit card systems or something like that, so you want to have enough cash to cover you. And the cash that you want to cover you more has to do with like shuttles or, let's say, emergency buys or, something like that. And at the same time, and this is why it's important to have that fifth or that fourth that I was telling you about. What if they get crazy? What if they do cancel your credit card and you got to work off this logistical stuff? You have enough cash to keep you going for a week or two, you know what I'm saying, until you sort this stuff out. So that's the ratio. I would say at least take a fourth in cash. Now, drop boxes. Dude, when you're hiking the trail, you're gonna cross a town once every 2 days, once every 3 days, every day. I mean, it is so, what's the word, commercialized now. I mean, you have people that'll be in trucks waiting on you to come out the trail to take you somewhere and do these things. So is it necessary to plan your hike while you're at home, making all these little boxes and shipping them off ahead? I'm going to tell you, there's so many reasons why you don't want to do that. Number one, let's say you're making drop boxes, okay? You're through hiking. You say it's going to take 6 months, and you go dropping these boxes 4 months ahead. Okay, you're going to be so tired of the same granola bar. You're going to be so tired of the same food that you put in there, which you bought at Costco, where you bought like a case of this stuff. And man, it's not necessary. Another thing, you're going to get stronger. You're going to get very much stronger. You may start out hiking 5 miles a day. Right now, 5 miles sounds like a lot. So what you do is you're sitting here making your log out saying, this town is 5 miles from here, this town is 5 miles, this town is 5 miles. Man, in a month, you're going to be knocking down 20-mile days. So what's going to happen to all that stuff that you dropped in these cities? Are you going to stop what you're doing, walk 5 miles, hitchhike into town, grab your box, come back? I've seen more often than not, people just leave their stuff, And actually, another good thing about it is when you get these overachievers like that, they'll straight say, hey man, I'm not going into town, I missed that one. If you need something here, you can pick it up and you can have it. So that's cool. That's a way of giving back. You don't want to make drops at post offices because you're going to be a hostage to the post office hours. You don't know when you're going to get there. You get there on like Saturday night, good luck. You got to stay there Sunday, post office is closed. What you want to do is you want to drop your boxes at hiker-friendly hostel, things of that nature that actually do packages and things of that nature, because that's what they're there for. Now here's another thing. Let's say, and first of all, I'm getting ahead. Let me stop for a second, pump the brakes. Listen. if you're special needs, okay, if you have if you're diabetic and you got insulin and things of that nature, you know, depending on the priority or what you have in that box, that depends on how you want to send it. What do you mean? Now I can go back to what I'm saying. Let's say you send your box through like Hiker Hostel, okay. Now let's say you started coming into town and you like call these people up and be like, hey, is my box there? First of all, they're running the business. They don't have time to stop what they're doing and go and look through this plethora of boxes. I'm talking like it looks like an avalanche of all these boxes. And 9 times out of 10, they're wrong. They'll say, oh no, we haven't seen it here. And I've seen people wait in towns, waiting for their box to come. And then, you you just be like, hey man, why don't you just go in there and see for yourself? Lo and behold, they go in there and look, and there's their box. So here's the deal. If you're sending something like medicine and things of that nature, you got no choice. I recommend you go with the post office. Okay, I recommend it for security reasons, but at the same time, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with these drop places, but what you want to do is you want to be on site. Don't take their word for it. Don't even ask if it's there. When you get there, say, where do you keep your hikers' boxes? Okay, and just go for broke. 9 times out of 10, they'll let you go back there if they can't find it. And it's happened to me. If I called this hotel once, I'm trying to get my package, and he's like, oh, it's not here. I'm like, well, check this out. I want a second opinion. I want to go back there. Well, we can't do that because I'm like, hey, I'm going back there, man. I mean, here's my wallet, whatever. Lo and behold, well, actually, in this scenario, the guy's like, okay, I'll really look. And he really looked. He came back and he had my box. The point I'm trying to say is that, there's some people, they'll just get lazy, and your box will be sitting there. And, okay, I'm starting to harp on this. So, get a second opinion when you do your mail drops. Check it if you have to, and don't be discouraged when they come back to the phone and say, no, we don't see your box. You got to understand, there are hundreds of boxes there, and you got people that have left the trail eons ago. All their boxes are just sitting there. That works for them because at the end of the year, guess what? It's Christmas in July. They're keeping all that stuff. They got no reason to, you put down their hope for hiker, they'll hold it till season's over, and it's like, hey, thanks, appreciate it. I'm going to have to do another segment on this, or maybe not. Let me see if I can get this out. So I don't recommend drops. It's just really not necessary. You can buy whatever you need as you go unless it's special needs. Okay, cell phones. Number one, are cell phones necessary? Yes, I'll get into why. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you like this. If I had a nickel for every phone call that I've actually made for somebody or lent my phone out, I'm going to tell you, Verizon Wireless will get you from Georgia to Maine. That just happens to be my server. I mean, my cell phone provider, and I'm not gonna sit here and like what do you call it? Honk their horn or like say, hey, they're great. I mean, we've had our issues, but I'm gonna tell you, Verizon Wireless will get you from Georgia to Maine. I don't care if you're on a mountaintop out, 4,000 feet up. You calling, they're gonna hear you. Don't even trip. All the other cell phone providers, I'm not going to mention no names because, quite frankly, I can't tell you what other people have. But, man, if you're sitting on a mountaintop and the snow's coming in and you're like in a monsoon and you're like huddled up in the corner and you're calling in support, hey, I need a blah, 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 you better hope you got Verizon Wireless if you want them to listen to you. Now, when you go through towns, the big towns, they have cell phone towers there. So if you got to make a call, if you got to check your messages and you can't do that in the woods, just wait. But the problem is, guess what? If you don't have to resupply and you got messages you need to check, or if you got to make a phone call, then that's a hitchhike you're going to have to take to go into town just to check your messages. And that's just if you're lucky to know if they have a cell phone tower. So so that's something to think about. Now, last but not least, the reason why you want a cell phone, and even if your cell phone doesn't work, let's say you're hitching, let's say you're a girl, let's say you're a guy. So at some point or another, you're going to have to hitchhike by yourself. It just happens. It's just going to be like that. Now, let's say you get in a car with this person and all of a sudden you start to feel uncomfortable. Maybe they're asking you questions that you don't feel comfortable with. And I'm going to tell you like this, in the military, there's a reason why they tell you, if you get caught deep behind enemy lines, blah, 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 and they ask you questions, keep your mouth shut, because I'm going to tell you, when you answer somebody's question, you're empowering them, okay? You're taking a submissive posture, and you're saying, okay, I understand you have enough authority to question me, and blah, blah, blah. Now, there's nothing wrong with being polite, okay? But at some point or another, when the questions start to change and this, that, and the other, don't feel obligated and feel like you just got to keep, because of the tension in the mood and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to tell you like this. before you get in the car, have your cell phone handy. Okay? Now, when you get in the car and let's just say that everything just goes south, you start to feel uncomfortable, this is what you do. You already have your cell phone in your hand, right? You're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, my cell phone is on vibrate. Give me a second. Hello? Oh, hi, Mom. Yeah, well, I'm hitchhiking right now. I'm with, what's your name? I'm with Brian, you know, and we're on Highway 10, and I'm going into, you know, just whatever town you're going to. Yeah, he's in a brown car. Oh, it's really nice. I mean, you give all the stats you need to give. You know what I'm saying? And once you're done with that, you know, let's say you do have cell service, you can say something like, oh, really? Okay, I'll give him a call. You hang up. And then you make a real phone call, and then you talk to whoever you want to talk to, and you stay on the phone until this guy, girl, whoever drops you off. Now, let's say you still don't have cell phone service. Still say that. Oh, well, I'll give him a call, or just stay on the phone. But the point I want to make is you want to send a message to this dude or this girl or whoever's driving that you're covered. And that's one good thing that a cell phone will do for you. You know, and it's just, you know, just something to think about. I'm at 16 minutes. We're good with logistics. And I think I'm good for the day. All right, out here.